Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Carolin Klein, Programs Officer for STAR. Excited to be back with another STARburst interview. Today's interview really focused on getting to know one of our more recent STAR members and staying up to date on new research that's come out. So today I am thrilled to be meeting for the first time and interviewing Erin McClung. Erin is a graduate student doing her PhD in experimental psychology at the University of Ottawa in what's called the REACH lab, if I understand correctly, which is the Relationship and Couples Health Lab. Is that right, Erin?
That is right. Yes.
And you're working under the supervision of Dr. Serena Corsini-Munt. And I'm super excited to be inviting Erin to be speaking with us today, not only again so that we get to know you, but because you're also first author on a paper that has just come out. It's online only so far. It's not even out in print yet. But maybe we can just start, Erin, with welcoming you and hearing a tiny bit about you. Why the interest in psychology, and then why the interest in sex research?
Psychology was really something that just during my undergrad really sort of grabbed me and pulled me in. I couldn't get enough. Um, and when I was applying to grad schools, I wasn't initially um, applying for sex research type graduate studies, uh, but I was focused more on self-determination theory and motivation. And it was something that Serena was interested in, and she said, "Would you want to apply this to sex research?" To which I said, "Absolutely, that sounds amazing."
And you're enjoying entering this world of sex research?
Immensely. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool that you've joined STAR. And so, yes, you just recently published a paper, your first author on a paper entitled Don't Break My Heart, a retrospective cross-sectional study examining autonomy support during romantic relationship dissolution. You've got several co-authors, a couple of them are fellow STAR members, Elisa Stragopidi and Serena Corsini-Munt. Tell us a little bit about this research. What were you investigating, and then what did you find?
Absolutely. So this was actually a little bit of a passion project of mine, where we looked at autonomy support during breakups. So providing autonomy support during a breakup from the initiator's perspective, so from the person who's saying, "Listen, I don't think we should see each other anymore." It might look like providing an honest and non-controlling rationale for the reasons why, the relationship is not working. Allowing the recipient of that breakup to sort of process the news in their own time, in their own way, and then taking the time to understand and non-judgmentally talk about what went wrong, respond to the recipient's concerns. They might be upset, but it's very important that it remains sort of non-judgmental, very calm, very just coming from a place of understanding rather than blame. So autonomy support typically, we look at it in terms of ways to promote a relationship, right? If you're having a disagreement, you can be autonomy supportive, and the goal is to sort of maintain that relationship going forward. But we really wanted to know, okay, but what if we applied this at the end of a relationship? How would that impact maybe post-relationship well-being? Which is sort of where this all started. So there's quite a bit of research about, the physical characteristics of a breakup and things that predict distress. So that's, gender, the length of the relationship, ongoing contact with an ex-partner, the role and use of technology. But I think what was missing was a script. What do you say? How many people have Googled, how do I break up with my partner? So that was really sort of what drove us to look into this, to see if we could, find a way to ease some of that distress, some of the discomfort around breaking up.
Fantastic. And I've got like a million questions already coming through my head. I want to hear about what you found, but like I'm already thinking like now I have so many of my clients who are punching things into AI while they wait to come in and see me in the office. I'm wondering, is AI actually right now giving them feedback and encouragement to respond in this kind of supportive way? I'm wondering about some of these predictors you said, in which direction they go when you say gender, et cetera. So I'd love to hear more. Tell us what your research found, and maybe we can get into some of those questions if we have time.
Absolutely. So what we found was that greater autonomy support by the initiator of the breakup was associated with more positive mood and subjective vitality for both people. So both the one who said, I want to break up, and the one who heard it. And this is really interesting because it might be that maybe providing this autonomy support, having this sort of conversation, it might just demonstrate sort of maybe a level of respect for the relationship, and provide a bit of closure, right? If you're really talking about what happened, you're not left wondering, what did I do? What did I say? Why did this end? Right? But what was really surprising was that we didn't see a decrease in distress. So distress in our study was measured by symptoms of anxiety, depression, and negative mood. Um, and so, how we understood it was that it's not necessarily that using autonomy supportive techniques is going to lessen the pain of a breakup, but it might just help people understand and move on faster.
So would it be fair for me to say that in some ways what you're saying is that, like you're saying, like the distress is still there, although it was interesting. I think you were before saying that mood is a bit better. So maybe we can disentangle that a bit, but
Yeah.
there's more acceptance of the breakup. There's less of the non-acceptance of why did this end? Is that kind of like the piece that there's still this huge grief over the loss, but maybe more acceptance of what's happening, which allows them to move forward? Or would you describe it differently?
I don't know that it's acceptance as much as it's understanding.
Okay.
You might not like why it's ended. You might not, feel that your partner was right, but at least you sort of know where their headspace was at during
Okay.
this sort of disillusion.
Okay.
And we do, yes, like you mentioned, I said higher positive mood, but there's no change in negative mood. So you might feel better sort of after the fact. You might be able to move on, but it's not necessarily going to make you feel less worse in sort
Got
of a.
it. And what's the time frame of this? Is this in the acute phase, or is this, how people feel about the breakup even weeks or months later?
The participants were undergraduate students. Um, Average relationship lengths were about a year. And on average, the time since their breakup had been about 2 months. So it's
Okay.
not too much longer after, that they're sort of reporting on these more positive well-being indicators.
Great. So if we have clients who are thinking of breaking up with their partner, or we have clients who the breakup has just happened and they might still have the ability to contact their partner, what should we be potentially advising our clients to do, or advising them to ask the partner who's breaking up with them to do, to help them have the best functioning post breakup?
So what's really interesting is we did measure ongoing contact after the breakup, and it was associated with greater symptoms of anxiety and depression. So ongoing contact after the breakup doesn't seem like it's going to help. It's more that initial, I think we should end things. That's where you really need to discuss, what's happened, and sort of navigate that calmly, non-judgmentally, and just sort of very honestly, what happened? This is what happened. And it's going to hurt. Like there's no way that it's not going to hurt, right? Um, but doing this will just maybe provide some clarity and allow people to, okay, that's finished. I know it's finished. No more contact, move forward, kind of thing.
Yeah, you just bring up such a good point, and we may not have the research to speak to this, but I'll ask the question anyway. So, what happens if, let's say, someone we know or a client, it could be just a loved one or ourselves for that matter, that someone has broken up with the individual, and the individual is now sitting in our therapist's office saying, well, I want to reach out to them to understand why. And now we're holding two pieces of information: one, that continuing contact is actually contraindicated, and the other, that actually having clarity and understanding is helpful.
Mm.
Do we have any research to say in that moment might be worth reaching out one more time to say, can you please give me this information? It will help me move forward. Here's the data to back that up. Or is it better at that moment to say, you know what, it's actually worse to continue contact? Do we have any data to tell us one
You
way or the other?
know, I don't think from this study in particular, I have the information for that. What I do know is the reasons that people were sort of reaching out, sometimes they were still, they shared a friend group with an ex. It's a little bit harder. They shared a workplace, or there's some sort of common ground. And I think it can be difficult for some people if you, let's say, if you don't have that autonomy support, or you don't really understand and you're constantly seeing them, it could be hard to move forward. Um, but in terms of, which way do you go? I think it's a tough call, and I think it probably depends a lot on the situation as well.
Erin, fantastic. If there's anything else about this study that you think is important, I'd love to hear it. Otherwise, I would love to move into our lightning round of fun questions.
Lightning round sounds great.
Fantastic. So we're going to put a minute on the clock here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. You're involved in research. What is your favorite part of the research process?
Oh, data analysis.
Okay. And what's your least favorite part?
Hmm. Writing ethics proposals.
Fair enough. What is your most used emoji on your phone?
Probably the laughing crying emoji.
Tick. Would you rather win tickets to a sports event, a concert, or a play?
Ooh, a concert.
Okay. And who's your favorite artist, or which artist would you be like, these are the tickets I want?
Oh, that's a good one. The Strokes, I think.
One word that you would use to describe yourself when you were a teenager.
Angsty.
And would your caregivers have agreed with that, or would they have used a different word?
Probably agree.
Perfect. The last song you sang or hummed along to that you can remember.
um, Mamma Mia by ABBA.
Nice, nice. Erin, that's awesome. There's the minute. It has been so nice getting to know you. It's nice for all of STAR members to get to know you. Congratulations on this research paper. It's got some direct clinical implications, and not even just clinical for people coming into the office, but just real world for us to recognize if we've got loved ones who are going through a breakup, or us ourselves. So I think it's a really cool study, and I look forward to citing it and getting it out there for others to read as well. Thank you for joining us today. And to everyone else with STAR, thank you for watching this video, staying up to date on new research, and getting to know one another. I look forward to seeing you all again next month when we do this again. Take care.